Today we're diving into the haunting case of Karlie Guse, a 16-year-old girl whose life took a tragic turn when she disappeared under mysterious circumstances in October 2018. Stay with us as we unravel this unthinkable and heartbreaking mystery and highlight the importance of keeping Karlie's story alive. Karlie Guse was born on the 13th of May 2002 to parents Lindsay Fairley and Zach Guse, who separated when she was just 2 years old. A few years later, Zach met a woman called Melissa Phillips. They went on to get married and have 2 boys together. For much of her childhood, Karlie lived with her mum, but later chose to move in with her dad, stepmom, and 2 younger brothers in Bishop, California. Shortly before Karlie's disappearance, the family moved to Chalfont, just 14 miles from Bishop. This area is so remote and is surrounded by vast desert and mountains. Karlie continued to go to school in Bishop, and when she wasn't studying, she worked part-time alongside her stepmom Melissa. Known for a fun-loving spirit and great sense of humour, Karlie was popular and well-liked at school, despite her introverted and quiet nature. On the evening of the 12th of October 2018, Karlie told her parents that she was going to a football game at her high school in Bishop. It's unclear if attending the game was actually the intention at all, or whether they got sidetracked, but instead she attended a house party with her boyfriend of 6 months, Donald Arrowwood, with some other friends at James Doolan's home. Although the two hadn't been together long, Karlie and Donald shared a deep connection, having known each other since preschool. During the party, however, Karlie smoked weed, which caused her to behave abnormally and frantically. Although smoking weed wasn't anything new to Karlie, it had been a while since she last used. This time, however, she became panicked, scared, and paranoid. Donald reported that she expressed feelings of intense fear of the music and of him, and became convinced that she was being tracked on her phone. In an effort to calm her down, Donald took Karlie back to his house. He tried comforting her with a hug, but her fear of Donald escalated, resulting in her biting him and telling him not to come near her. She was near impossible to console, so in distress she called Melissa at 8:30 p.m, asking her to come and pick her up immediately. This confused Melissa, however, as only half an hour earlier, Melissa had called Karlie asking if she needed a lift home that night. Karlie told her no and that her boyfriend Donald would bring her home. Concerned by Karlie's urgency and reluctancy to hang up, Melissa hurried to the location that Karlie provided. Upon arrival, however, she found Karlie running down Dixon Road alone. Once in the car, Karlie's unsettling behaviour became even more evident. She was as pale as a ghost with dilated pupils and expressed her fear that the car or Melissa driving too fast would kill her, all while switching seats multiple times. At home, her erratic behaviour continued, fluctuating between affection to her dad and stepmom 1 minute to intense fear the next. Karlie admitted to smoking weed at the party, but given her abnormal behaviour at the time, Zach believed that she was either having an adverse reaction, as it had been some time since she last used, but was more convinced that the weed was laced with another substance. Melissa prepared a salad for Karlie, but she dismissed it, calling it devil's lettuce, and insisted she needed to read the Bible. Karlie's strange behaviour led Melissa to secretly record her, hoping to show her later how erratic she had been while under the influence. She thought that maybe in the future it would deter her from using again. The full 8-minute and 45-second audio has never been publicly released, but I did come across this shorter snippet.
This is the audio of Karlie, and it's in my pocket, so it's kind of loud and scuffly.
Melissa. Do you want to take a shower? If it'll make you feel better? No? You're gonna kill me. Karlie, Listen to what you just said to me.
What?
You said you're going to kill me.
Don't kill me.
Why would I kill you? That's preposterous. That's ridiculous.
I'm eating the devil's lettuce.
You're eating lettuce that I just freshly chopped that I bought from the grocery store.
I don't know why. I'm just
Why you would
thinking
think it's the devil's lettuce?
Because I'm just thinking all these demonic stuff and I can't help it.
You're okay.
You wouldn't call them?
Why would you look at me like that?
Well, you just said you wouldn't. Would you call them?
911? For what reason?
If
If
I
there
were
was an
gonna die?
emergency? If there was an emergency, yes, I would always call 911. Yeah.
Why are you scaring me?
I don't know. Just don't look at my face.
I have to look at you.
No, you don't. Is it because I'm ugly?
No, you're not.
You're beautiful.
You're not ugly. I'm sorry.
I love you.
I love you too.
It's gonna be okay.
Tragically, Melissa never did get to play the audio back to Karlie. Donald texted Melissa asking if Karlie was okay, to which she replied at 1:27 a.m, "Please pray." Karlie's dad Zach checked on her at around 3:30 a.m. and saw that she was just laid with her eyes wide open, and Melissa had also said that she too saw Karlie just laid with her eyes wide open. Donald texted Melissa again at 5:16 a.m. asking if Karlie was okay. This time, Melissa replied, "No, not really." Melissa then fell asleep and later woke at around 7:15 to 7:30 a.m. to discover that 16-year-old Karlie was missing. She searched the house. She wasn't in her bed, she wasn't in the bathroom, she wasn't anywhere downstairs. But then when she noticed that the front door was slightly open, she was just overcome with panic. She quickly woke Zach up, and both Melissa and Zach jumped in their cars and drove around the surrounding area in hopes of finding Karlie walking down the street, possibly just to try and clear her head from the night before. They also knocked on neighbours' doors, slowly canvassing the area, but after 2 hours and no trace of Karlie, they returned home, where Zach phoned Karlie's mum, Lindsay, to inform her of their daughter's disappearance. From hearing this news, Lindsay made her way straight to the Guse household. Meanwhile, Melissa contacted the police.
Melissa, how old is your daughter?
16.
What's her name?
Karlie.
How long has she been missing?
I last saw her at 5:30 this morning, and then a neighbor saw her walking down the street at 6:30.
Do you know what she was last wearing?
Skinny jeans and sweater.
Do you think she ran away or something?
No.
Investigators found no signs of forced entry to the home, and since there was no indication of abduction, an Amber Alert wasn't issued. All of Karlie's belongings had been left behind on the kitchen counter, where she'd left them the night before, including cash, glasses, and her phone. A search began that afternoon, utilising a helicopter, off-road vehicles, and volunteers. Unfortunately, searches of the surrounding area were unsuccessful in locating Karlie. So over the next couple of days, cadaver dogs, more helicopters, and the FBI were brought in. Typically, a missing child case would see a 72-hour search, but the search for Karlie lasted a week. After this time, and once they suspended the search, they took a more investigative role, with volunteers still searching by foot. They searched through Karlie's phone in hopes of discovering new leads, from which they found a text to Donald indicating that Karlie too thought that the weed was laced. So had she maybe left that morning still feeling the effects and paranoia? Some speculate, however, that this may have been Melissa texting Donald from Karlie's phone in an attempt to get Donald to confirm that it had been laced. But Donald was adamant that it was just weed, and that everyone else smoked the same thing from the same bong, and nobody else became unwell. Private investigators also continued to search the surrounding areas, including the vast rugged desert and White Mountains. To this day, 6.5 years later, Karlie has never been found, nor has she ever contacted friends and family. 3 individuals reported possible sightings of her on the morning of her disappearance. The first of which Melissa spoke to while out searching for Karlie that morning. He was a retired motorcycle officer named Richard Eddy, who lived near the Guse household. He claims to have seen Karlie that morning between 6:30 and 6:45 and remembers thinking that it was very strange. She was only in a t-shirt and joggers, yet it was no more than 40 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius outside. He was sipping his coffee while in his jacuzzi at the time of seeing the young female, and also hinted at her odd behaviour, stating she was looking around at the sky. He mentioned seeing Karlie in grey joggers and a white t-shirt. However, if you remember, Melissa stated in her 911 call that Karlie was wearing jeans. Melissa had already spoke to Richard that morning about the disappearance too, before making the 911 call. So it was a little strange that she stated jeans, especially seeing as she didn't actually see Karlie before Karlie left the house, to even know what she had been wearing.
It was kind of chilly that morning, I remember, and for some reason I looked out towards the street. I have big windows in the hot tub room, so I looked out towards the street and I thought, that's unusual. There's a young girl walking by. She had long brown hair. She had clothes on. She had a white, I think, I can't even remember, but I think she had a white top and maybe gray bottoms or something, but she had clothes on. But it was kind of chilly, and I thought, that's kind of weird that she would be there. And she was waving a piece of paper, like a 12 by 12 piece of paper. She was just waving it in the air and walked by. Now,
another witness also mentioned seeing a girl carrying a piece of paper that morning. Kenneth Dutton, a school teacher, was in his driveway when he claims to have seen Karlie walk towards Highway 6, holding a piece of paper in her hand. The third and final witness hasn't been publicly named, but a woodworker was driving down Highway 6 at around 7:30 that morning, and they claimed to have seen a girl fitting Karlie's description. She was standing behind a barbed wire fence by Highway 6. This was also very close to where the dogs reportedly lost her scent. The 2-lane route leads to Bishop and stretches towards some of Nevada's loneliest desert. Officers concluded that Karlie likely headed south towards the highway. A checkpoint was established along Highway 6, but despite 50 people sharing they'd passed through the area on the 13th of October, none recalled seeing anyone matching Karlie's description. So what had happened to Karlie? Did she wander into the desert? Did she get into a car? Maybe voluntarily, or dread to think, involuntarily. These are just a few of the theories that emerged in the weeks following Karlie's disappearance. Zach, Karlie's dad, believes in 2 of these potential theories.
With this disappearance, one of 2 things happened. And I know that for sure. One of 2 things. I used to think one of 3, but I threw the third one out. Because I don't believe she ran away. I think she would have been found. I don't think she's that smart. She was 16. I mean, I don't even know if I could run away. So I finally threw that one away. And I'm down to 2 things. I'm down to she either crossed that desert so far that nobody found her, or she was abducted. She got in the wrong car and with the wrong person. And I'd like to say to that person that may God be with you. May God forgive you. Because I won't. At all. I don't know if that's right to say or not. I don't know. But that's what I wanted to say.
There is the possibility that Karlie was abducted that morning for trafficking. And as disturbing as that scenario and thought is, it at least holds hope that Karlie is still alive. Some other slightly more morbid theories also surfaced, especially from Lindsay, her biological mum, and from the public via the internet, but we will get onto those shortly. Posters and banners with Karlie's photo and description were displayed all over, in stores, in diners, and in gas stations all across Eastern California, in hopes that somebody would eventually recognize her. An age progression photo that can be seen here was recently released in 2022 on Karlie's 20th birthday. Melissa took to Facebook 10 hours into the search, posting lives urging for help from others to find her 16-year-old stepdaughter. Probably a really sensible thing to do to gain attention to the case. Obviously, the more eyes on the case, the better in terms of finding a missing person. However, many remarked Melissa's demeanour was very suspicious.
My name is Melissa Guse. If you're going to watch this video, please do not have the kids around. Karlie Guse is missing still. She's been missing since... Breathe. She's been missing since 6:30 a.m. The last time that I spoke to her was 5:30. She didn't take her cell phone. We're coming up on 10 hours. And now is the part where I'm saying I have to do something, and I see all your faces popping up and it makes me want to cry. I love you guys. And I'm putting this out there because it's going on 10 hours that she's been missing. And I want to put this on blast because I don't think she's out in the desert. I think that she could have been abducted or taken because we do live by a highway and it happens, and I'm being real. Hold on. Let's do this good. Wait, there she is. She's 5'7", about 115 pounds. She has blue eyes and the cutest little nose and a great smile. And her hair goes all the way down past her, like, to her belly, let's say, mid-waist. And this was last year's picture. Shows you she's a little bit different, but not much. She's still, like, adorably cute. She doesn't wear makeup and everything. She left in her jeans and a t-shirt. So just go for it. Everybody help me out here. I love you all. Everybody please watch, share, your friends share, my friends share. Everybody just share the shit out of it.
This discrepancy, along with the confusion over what Karlie was wearing, led to public skepticism. Zach and Melissa appeared on TV show Dr. Phil in 2019, also raising suspicions when Melissa's story suddenly changed. Melissa had initially claimed that on the morning of Karlie's disappearance, Melissa carried out her usual routine at 5:45 a.m. of opening the kids' doors and saying good morning to wake them up for school. At this time, Karlie was in bed, so Melissa went back to bed and slept. But that morning was a Saturday, so why would they need waking up for school, and why would you go back to bed after waking up your kids? She slept until 7:15 a.m, checked on Karlie again, to then find her missing. However, on the Dr. Phil show, her story now changed to be that she'd stayed in Karlie's bed with her all night, watching over her. She claimed to have fallen asleep at 5:30 a.m. and woke up at 7 a.m. to notice that Karlie had gone. She maintains that this version of events is accurate. Melissa and Zach also denied Dr. Phil the contact details for the three said witnesses so that he could interview them himself. They had also initially denied Dr. Phil from listening to the audio recording, claiming that they didn't want the whole world to hear it, which is fair enough. Dr. Phil expressed how it may be useful, however, for him to hear it to help determine what she may have been taken by how she sounded and what she was saying.
I wanted to hear that tape, but you didn't let us hear that tape. Tell me why. I wasn't.
It's an ongoing investigation still. This is
the FBI
ongoing.
have it, the sheriffs have it. It's not gonna, I don't think it's going to solve the mystery of where she is.
Well, you don't know what I might know or what I might not know. I would very much have liked to have heard that tape. Is there a reason that I didn't hear that tape?
Nobody asked.
No.
No.
Did anybody ask us?
I don't even think anybody
we
asked.
asked. Yeah, we asked because
there's no reason. It
I've
doesn't.
dealt with every kind
of.
I've dealt with every kind of mind-altering drug in the world in 45 years, and I can learn a lot by what part of the brain is involved, whether it's limbic system, whether it's neocortex, what's going on. Is it pushed verbalizations? Is it confusion? I mean, what's going on? It tells me a lot.
Right.
And I was really interested to hear the tape, but we were told we couldn't have the tape, and I was curious why.
I mean, you can listen to the tape. I don't want the world to listen to the tape.
Oh.
They eventually allowed him to listen. Things just weren't sitting right for the public, nor was it for biological mum Lindsay Fairley, especially once these small discrepancies started coming out. Lindsay claims that she was informed by Zach by being told Karlie was gone, but the use of the word gone instantly didn't sit right with her, viewing the use of terminology a red flag.
Did he say she's gone?
He said she was gone, yes.
Those were the words
gone,
that he used.
And it stuck out like just a sore thumb.
Huh. Gone.
Gone.
Mm-hmm. And at that point, what did you think gone meant?
Dead. I mean, that's a big word. Gone is, you can't mess with gone. It's either they're gone for good or they're, it just didn't sit right.
He didn't say she's missing, he said she's gone.
Yeah.
She became skeptical of Melissa's story from the beginning, as she claims that she had never heard the full audio recording, even questioning if Karlie had even left the home alive that morning. She suspects that her daughter had an overdose, that maybe they began to panic that they hadn't taken Karlie to the hospital in the first place, and Melissa or Zach disposed of her body. Then the statement with the pair of them seeing Karlie just laid with her eyes wide open further solidified Lindsay's suspicion that Karlie had already passed.
What I think happened is that I believe, and I really don't want to believe this, but I believe my daughter had a friggin' drug overdose. And I believe it because she was asking for help. She was asking for them to call. And I believe it. A very early morning, Melissa saw her with her eyes open, and I think that's when my daughter passed.
Lindsay further speculated that witnesses didn't see Karlie at all that morning. She figured that it was Melissa walking down the street, in hopes of people mistaking her for Karlie, and speculated that Karlie was already dead. There's no surveillance cameras on the outside of their house, nor are there any nearby shops or gas stations with CCTV that could have helped with confirming who had left the Guse house, or who was walking around that morning. The discrepancy of the jeans or joggers that Karlie was wearing also played into this theory. Melissa has said that Karlie would never leave the house in joggers, and that she only owns jeans, with Zach also confirming that Karlie doesn't own any joggers. Lindsay has also said that the description Richard gave of the clothing was exactly what Melissa was wearing that day. A white t-shirt and joggers. So maybe the witnesses really did get mistaken, thinking it was Karlie they saw that morning, when it could have actually been Melissa out looking for her stepdaughter. The public would also chime in with their theories and opinions on the case, commenting on Melissa's post and posting in groups. The public's growing suspicion of Melissa prompted authorities to ask for the harassment of the family to stop. In 2021, speculation also arose regarding a particular TikToker and also a different YouTuber, both bearing resemblance to Karlie, making people wonder if they were in fact her. A TikTok account by the name of I'm Having So Much Fun resembled Karlie and had been posting dancing videos. The public considered these dances to have been very strange, and they would give the TikToker instructions, like to touch her hair or to blink if she was in trouble, which she appeared to follow. However, she also had another account on which she said she was fine and that she spoke with an English accent. Mono County Sheriff's Office posted on their Facebook that they too can see the resemblance to Karlie, but had confirmed with Karlie's family that it wasn't her. Similarly, a YouTube account by the name of Kate Yupp was considered to show resemblances, and for a while it was speculated that she was being held against her will, but again was confirmed not to be the missing 16-year-old Karlie Guse. A couple of months later, in December 2018, bloody underwear was found near Coyote Scat, which was collected for testing. There's only a couple of laboratories in the country which are capable of accurate testing, but unfortunately, they were sent to the wrong facility. The sheriff at the time said they weren't believed to be linked to Karlie. The latest and most promising lead to date was received in 2021 from an ex-drug addict. He claimed to have been feeling guilty knowing what had happened to Karlie, but didn't speak up any sooner as he was a drug addict at the time and feared that he'd get into trouble. He reportedly saw Karlie at a party in Tonopah, Arizona, which is just 2 hours away from Chalfont, and it is one of the first towns you come to when travelling along Highway 6. He had apparently witnessed an incident involving Karlie, but didn't disclose what the incident was. However, he did provide the make, model and location of the car that brought Karlie to that town. The police seized the vehicle and ran it for DNA testing. However, there's still been nothing ever to come from this lead. Friend James Doolin was arrested for providing weed to Karlie that night and pleaded guilty in January 2019 to a lesser related charge of contributing to the delinquency of a minor. Ultimately, the sheriffs remain uncertain whether Karlie ran away, was kidnapped, or if she hid. But ultimately, they never found any incriminating evidence at home. All potential sightings over the years have unfortunately turned out to be false alarms. The mystery of what had happened to Karlie remains unsolved and leaves family and friends yearning for answers. They continue to hold on to hope for her safe return. Karlie loved spending time with her younger brothers, dancing with her friends and watching scary films, and she sounds to have been a ray of sunshine in so many people's lives. If you have any information regarding Karlie's case, please check the description below for the relevant contact information. I'll also pin it in the comments section too. The FBI is currently offering a $10,000 reward for any information that could lead to her whereabouts. As a parent myself, I can only imagine the heartbreak and anguish that Karlie's family have endured for all of these years. Hopefully, she will one day return to her family safe and sound.
I've heard somebody say, oh, they give their right arm to save their child, to an abductor or something. I'd give my whole body and soul. I'd give it all up just to have her home safe. That's all I do.